He did. We're live. Hello, voters. This is the Audit the Vote newsroom. I'm Toni Shoup, CEO of Audit the Vote. I am not transitioning to becoming a man. I'm just battling a little bit because it's my body telling me, girl, you're going to slow down one way or the other. But welcome tonight. We're going to speed through this because we're both feeling like $1,000,000. I'm joined with my CFO, Karen Taylor. But we got a lot to cover because we're 6 days out. 6 days out from the most important election that we've ever seen in our lifetimes. Go to auditthevotepA.com, like, share, and subscribe whatever platform you're on. We are rapidly moving from one platform to the next because we're either getting hacked or banned or just all sorts of insanity on our social media. So you're probably not watching this on Audit the Vote's Facebook page because we don't have it anymore.
At least not right now.
Not right now. And we also don't have Audit the Vote's Instagram account. So bear with us. We got to grow our social media following on X, where speech is still allowed to be free. Praise the Lord, which we will do. But didn't want to let tonight go by without covering some important stuff that's happening in the Commonwealth. Before we do that, to kick things off, I'm going to have Joel queue up a new section of our website. I'm in the process of redoing the website. This has kind of been an ongoing endeavor, if you will. And no, I have absolutely no experience in software design or website development at all. It's just been learn as you go. So it takes me forever, but I am figuring it out. And I put a new section on our website called Breaking News. And I figured out how to do an RSS feed. I don't even know what that means, but I figured out how to do it so that I could filter election integrity news only. That's both mainstream propaganda and alternative media sources. So you can see both sides. So if you go to auditthevotepA.com, Joel's scrolling, you click on breaking news. This is our newsroom. And it is supposed to pull in mostly election integrity stuff, which it does. You see New York Post, The Federalist. Hey, someone that we can kind of trust. And then I shouldn't say kind of, Federalist is good. WTAE.com. Again, there's a mixture, so you can get both sides. So we can see what's the propaganda Mockingbird media saying, and then what are the alternative actual investigative journalists who are credible saying. And so Joel, kick us off with it. We're going to kick off with a propaganda hit piece from WTAE News. Joel, hit that. This is good stuff.
Concern heading into Election Day security. The leader of the Department of State is ensuring we'll have a free, fair, and safe election. Pittsburgh's Action News 4 reporter Bob Mayo has more.
With Election Day now less than a week away, Pennsylvania's top election official is now holding daily briefings on how Pennsylvania is assuring that our elections are secure.
These are safeguards built into the election administration process and every step to identify any effort to compromise election integrity.
Secretary of the Commonwealth Al.
Are we commenting too much?
Secretary of the Commonwealth Al.
Confidence that your reported.
Oh, crap. If this doesn't work out. And yes, we're going to talk about the Bucks County.
To conduct both the audits that occur after every election and before the results are certified, that they're all completed so you can have confidence that your reported results are accurate.
Schmidt is cautioning about getting your election.
Oh, crud. Is it breaking for you too? Sorry, folks. We're gonna
basically him saying that everything is all perfect. We're great.
He's gonna try another source, see if he can get this to work or not. It's not. It's just go watch it. It's total propaganda. Yes. It's a bunch of junk. 100%. And bad actors like me and Karen are trying to cast doubt in the.
Yes. It's all our fault.
Everything's fine. Nothing about transparency. We still have absolutely no clue how the results get from the county to the state, to the media. Nobody wants to be transparent about that, but it's no big deal. Now, if you're panicking over that, don't start praying because that's all we got left, folks. We're getting poll watchers all over the place, as trained as they could possibly be. Stuff is getting documented. We aren't censored nearly like we were in 2020 with the massive COVID crackdown of Facebook and slapping us with I think when Michael Lindell's, one of his election integrity things came out, it literally said like sexually explicit content on it because it didn't want you to watch it. Karen, do you remember that? I think that was absolute proof. So we don't have that to deal with. We've got Vote Alert, True the Vote, and Vocal from Cause of America that are platforms that you can submit something to if you actually see on the ground, and it will get looked at by non-establishment hacks, actual patriots, and who have attorneys, real legit attorneys that might actually be able to help us this time. So we are never fear. There it is. Incident reporting. You can use Vocal is Cause of America. Their staff, Karen, has admin access to 11 states, not just Pennsylvania. So bear with us. I have admin access to Vote Alert, although thank God Catherine Engelbrecht has a staff who's been doing a stellar job of keeping in touch with it, because I haven't even had a chance to look at it. But on election day, I will be all over Vote Alert. So I would suggest if you see something, report it to both of those, because there's so many people going in so many directions. And if Karen doesn't see it, I will. And if I don't see it, she will. And everything will be eventually get looked at from eyes that you can trust.
Yep.
VoteAlert.org. It's a web-based app. You can put it on your phone, but it's not in the App Store. Karen, what about Vocal? Is Vocal in the App Store? How do you get that?
Vocal.com. It is in the App Store. It is in the App Store. So
very good. Very, very good. Nikki, I've got receipts on that bullshizzle about bucks. I know we're gonna
we'll
gonna get there. So Vote Alert and Vocal, make sure that you are reporting stuff. You don't even if you're not a poll worker or a poll watcher, if you see something somewhere, report it on there so we can check it out and see what's going on. So what about the PA hotline for the GOP? Is she joking about that? Sort of. Yeah, it's out there, and I recommend you call them, but don't let that be the first line of defense.
There also is a 1-800 number. We can find it for you guys for Vote Alert as well. So if you have, some elderly people that may not be technologically advanced, there is a 1-800 number that they can call True the Vote's Vote Alert as well to make sure. And then the other thing I will let you guys know is I'm trying to find the new site. There is a site that you can go on. I'll make sure we get the link to see where all the reports are coming from. So both True the Vote, and Vocal. You can go to trackincidents.com, and you'll actually be able to see where all the all across the country where some of the reporting's coming from. So it's kind of cool.
Yes, we'll get that stuff in the chat. Maybe even Joel can write up a post in the description of this email with the links to all of those things so that we have them. I'm going to drink water so I don't start hacking on screen.
Yep.
Yeah, we will get that out to you guys. I just stuck the votealert.org website in there. So I'm not concerned. I mean, I'm concerned, but I'm not panicked that even though we're still using the cheat machines and not getting hand counts, not panicked about the outcome of the election, because first of all, God is in control. Second of all, we are showing our faith by our works, working our tails off on the ground, and he will be faithful. And we're believing that we're going to have a fair election, fair enough election to have a legitimate winner. Oh, trackincidents.com. Very good. All right. First story. So you got the propaganda hit piece that says everything's fine. The Secretary of State, Al Schmidt, everything is copacetic. We've got election workers on top of stuff. They're checking to make sure these mail ballots that come back are actually to verified voters. They're checking the voter registrations to make sure that those are legit. And then we have Lancaster County that is now joined by 5 other counties where they're investigating. Hark! Elected officials have found something. And they're actually looking into it because they found in Lancaster is where this kicked off 2,500 fake voter registration forms. Yes, 2,500 fake ballot registration forms. And no, we don't think this has anything to do with Scott Pressler, by the way, because I could see them trying to pin this on him.
They already have. They're already trying. They're already trying. They're already trying.
Of course they are. Of course they are. And it has been discovered. What I don't know, Karen, maybe you can help correct me on this. There is Monroe County has broke a story that they have discovered a company that is responsible for doing this up in that area. I don't know if it's the same. Is it different in Lancaster? Or is it the same people?
Lancaster has not released the company. Monroe released a company. It's out of Arizona. But so far, the counties that have been named are York, Cambria, Monroe, and Lancaster. There was also an issue in Luzerne County, but it doesn't look like it's affiliated with the same potential scheme that they have here. But everything's free and fair and good.
No, but the Secretary of the Commonwealth is doing daily briefings to reassure the public that everything is
good.
Sure. But hey, it's being investigated. There's eyes on it. And if you go to, I was going to pull this up too, but I don't think I'll get a chance. They're talking about these fake registrations. Well, this should have been caught through the Social Security Administration website. If you go look this up right now, that we've talked about this on previous shows, the HOV, Help America Voter Verification Act, requires when you submit a voter registration, it has to go through this government agency to be verified that you're a citizen. That's how they ensure us that there are no illegals registered to vote that could, heaven forbid, cheat, steal an election, and cast a ballot, even though they're not legitimate U.S. citizens. However, just in this last week, I checked right before we got on here, just in the last week, 151,000 voter registrations were processed in Pennsylvania, and 15,000 of them were kicked back out because it didn't have a matching SOCH number or a matching driver's license number. Now, some of that could be, it doesn't all mean it's fake fraud, people trying to cheat, but certainly there's no, certainly if 10% of them are jumping back, I don't think the Secretary of State should be traveling around saying everything's fine, we got nothing to worry about. And then you got this stuff that's breaking where it's actual proof that no, there's companies paying people to go and register voters, fake ones. And yeah. I don't know who's responsible for it, or if it's the people just wanting to make the money that are faking it, if it's the company behind it. I guess that's going to be part of the investigation. Karen, is that how you understand it?
That's what it looks like. They're going to actually do some research into this company, into, where they're coming from. From what I gather, they were saying is they just looked weird. They all had the same handwriting, and they all looked, and the registrations weren't matching, and dates weren't matching. And some of these go as far back as June. So, it's not necessarily that these are being all dumped the day before or the day of ending registration. This is not a one-time thing. And the fact that it's in 6 counties, that's a problem. And that's 6 counties that, we know of. Who knows how many of our 67 counties are actually looking into this.
Yep. And they caught it by the same handwriting. So here's the action item for you. And we're going to get to all these questions as long as I still have a voice. And if I don't, Karen's going to have to take over. The action item for you, here's what we can do on the ground. We can submit a public records request. And in a second, I'll have Joel pull up the verbiage, because I literally, right before we went live, was trying to get this up on our website so you can go and pull it down. And thank you to the Allegheny County folks that did this already. I cut and pasted from an email chain that I was on. So we did not figure this out ourselves, but just a collaboration. You can fill out a public records request. And I don't think we should inundate the counties right now, right before the election necessarily, with a ton of these. So coordinate this with your local patriot groups. But if we get somebody in every county to submit a right to know, asking for access to the applications for the mail-in ballots. And this is the verbiage. It's right on our website. Go to auditthevotepa.com, click on educational resources. And then if you just click the box that says public record requests in parentheses RTKs, this verbiage will pop right up, and you can cut and paste it, and you'll have to fill out the RTK form for your county and send it in. But this is the exact verbiage that you're basically saying, hey, I either want to come inspect these, or I would like you to make digital copies of these sometime before Tuesday, November the 5th, which be a miracle if that happens. But get it on the books, get this out there, because who knows how many of these there are. And if we do have crazy shenanigans that we got to dig into after the election, that was something we talked about today with me, Karen, and Vico, and the Cause of America team is, okay, what is Audit the Vote? What should we be doing right now to prepare for November 6th and beyond? Because we know, come on, we're fighting the deep state. It's the patriots against the machine at this point. And the deep state is not just going to go, oh, congratulations, Trump. Great. I guess, we suck. Our platform, we've been found out. And so you've legitimately won an election, and I guess we're all going to jail. Good night. I don't see that happening. So I think we're in for a battle no matter what. And this is probably one, now that we're actually finding that this is happening, that they faked voter registrations, I'm sure they're faking mail-in ballot applications as well. And that's the easiest way to catch it, is to look at the application, which should be public record. It is not contents of the ballot box. It should be a public record, and we should not have a problem getting that. Nikki, I did say before 11:05 because we should be able to inspect those before we're going into what if there's a ton of fake ones that they don't catch. Now, there's a lot of other groups that are challenging mail ballots that don't make sense because I don't know. I was talking to a patriot today who's filing a request. There's 30 some mail ballots in Allegheny County that have been requested and returned by people who have filed permanent change of address forms with the United States Postal Service, meaning they don't live in Pennsylvania anymore. But for some reason, they've requested a mail ballot from our state and they're voting here. And it's Democrats, Republicans, and Libertarians. It's all of them. We don't know if it's the real people or not. So we're challenging those in court. Friday at 5 o'clock is the deadline for us to be able to challenge those in court. And if you can go to auditthevoteba.com/donations and donate $10, it costs $10 to challenge a ballot. And there's 15,000 UOCAVA ballots, which I'm not going to get into the details of, that don't have funding yet. Most of the ballot challenges that other patriots are doing are fully funded. Praise God to hardworking patriots on the ground, but they're not all funded. And this isn't something that's going to go away. So we would like to ask and get used to people giving $10. You will sponsor a challenge to a mail-in ballot now, hopefully, before it's stolen. And then as we move into the future to keep our elections safe moving forward. So auditthevoteba.com/donations. Tons of new merchandise, by the way. This is a new hat. Do you like it, Karen? What do you think of the new hat?
I like it.
It's cozy. I have a hoodie for her, a white hoodie that says Audit the Vote on it. I think I've worn this shirt way too many days now. It's got the Trump fist on it with the Audit the Vote flag. And then look, I even stuck a graphic. And yes, I did do these too. There's a Trump fist with a flag in the background on both sleeves. Cool. So go to the store on the Audit the Vote website. And when you purchase merchandise, if you're someone, I like getting some bang for my buck, if you could say it that way, rather than just money out the door, although donating to a good cause is always a good thing. If you purchase something, our markup on our website, we don't make a ton. We make like $5 to $10 on every item that you buy there. But if you go purchase something, you'll be helping sponsor mail ballot challenges and all the other things that we have to pay for. So
Toni, I want to talk real quickly about two things because I saw Slaw asked a question that she won't certify the election. I'm assuming you're talking about Kamala. Here's the thing. Back in 2022, there was in the omnibus bill, it was put in that the vice president no longer has the authority to challenge the electors. It's basically ceremonious. So as far as not certifying, as the president of the Senate, she doesn't have the authority to do that anymore. So I want to talk about that because that is very important. The second thing is Toni was talking about mail-in ballots. And for those of you who don't know, you can track your mail-in ballots on the Pennsylvania voter site. The reason I am saying that is because I got a message through X today from a really sweet lady who went on Monday with her mom to go vote in York County. And they did the early voting, which is basically a mail-in ballot. You request it, you stand there, you can fill it out, turn it in. Well, her ballot is showing her mom's ballot, who was turned in at the county where they do the early voting, was turned in right before hers, and they have no record of her mother requesting a ballot or turning in a ballot. And so I think it's important to make sure, if you did do the early voting, make sure that it shows on the Pennsylvania website that you did vote. If you sent in a mail-in ballot, they don't open it as far as knowing who you're voting for, but they do what's called bink it in. So they will give you credit for that ballot. So I think it's really important for you guys to just make sure that your vote is being counted. So make sure you go on the website and check. And if you did send it in, let's say a week or two ago, and it's not on there, then you need to call your elections department ASAP.
Yep. And so, yes, we are going to make more work. Like our election directors are going to hate us, but that's not the point. Is we are coming up against a most important election ever, which is obvious. And this isn't something that we can afford to wait on. So I don't expect that they're going to get back to you on this. It might get lost in the shuffle, but fill it out now so that if crazy shenanigans happen, we can beat the drum next week after Tuesday if we have to get access to this stuff. Now, by some miracle, somebody might say, yeah, come in, you can inspect them, or we'll give you all the Every county is probably different in how they handle these, whether they're scanning them in to keep the records or they're just keeping them on file. We don't know. It's county by county. So I would still get that in there. What website is he asking
I got
for?
it. Hold on. I'm putting it now. It
Okay,
is pavoterservices.pa.gov. And we'll have Joel put up the link as well. But you can go on there and then you click on the ballot tracking and you'll be able to track your ballot.
So I see we got the purple. That's what the purple is. So the purple is Twitch. We are on a new platform. Again, that's what that little purple guy is. I love it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
No. Again, we're branching out because we're playing whack-a-mole and getting banned on multiple platforms. So
Yep.
we're trying to branch out to other ones. And Joel thankfully knows about Twitch. And no, it's not just one of these things. It's Karen was like, "What the heck is that?" I don't know, but
like, what is that?
Our producer, social media expert, said we need to get on that. So
Amazing.
He did it for us, and he's sticking all the voter services stuff in there. Is there anything on this site, Karen, you need to mention?
Nope. That's just where you can tell, right where it says election ballot status on the left-hand side under voter services. That's where you can go to actually see if your mail-in ballot has already been counted for. I just want to make sure that everybody's paying attention because I think that's really important. A lot of people, some people aren't even opening up their ballots until, right before election day. And Toni and I talked about this last week where we were seeing some of the ballots that were glued together. So I want everybody to make sure that they're getting, credit for their vote, that every legal vote matters and that people are not getting disenfranchised. That's the biggest thing that I think Toni and I want to make sure you guys understand.
Good. So yeah, I do know the State Department is publishing a list of the requests for mail-in ballots. The counties might be doing their own thing, but you can get right on the State Department website and find out who has actually requested a mail-in ballot. So they're being transparent about that, but the spreadsheet doesn't tell us anything. I mean, if we were looking at spreadsheets that had never caught the fake voter registrations, they're looking at, hey, all these handwriting matches, everything's the same, the signatures. Right. And so that's why looking at these mail ballot applications is probably going to be vital moving forward. On the topic of preparing, what do we do after November 5th? We've got eyes on the ground everywhere. Not familiar with my poll watcher effort in Allegheny County. We do still need people in Allegheny County. So if you are an Allegheny County resident and willing and able to commit the entire election day, we do have funding to pay you. Just go to our website at Eyes on 412 right there and sign up. And I will be in touch with you to get you through training as quickly as possible, get you a certificate. And we're going to have you document some very specific metrics. I did a special training. There's 2 sessions of training you have to go through. One is to get a certificate from the RNC. The other is special training that I did that's very election day specific. And it's going to talk to you about what to track and how to track the metrics so that after election day, we'll be able to look precinct by precinct and say, did they reconcile the ballots? If not, why? And was something witnessed that needs escalated further? And if so, we might have to have volunteers start going out and getting signed affidavits from people that are willing to go on record. This is why, if you are watching the polls, gathering as much information as you possibly can and taking really good notes and being very observant on election day is going to be vital. Because if we have to go out and get affidavits signed from people, eyewitnesses that saw something on the ground, that's what we're going to be doing after November 5th, depending on how things shake out. So that is Eyes on 412 and poll watching. Let's go back to some more shenanigans in the state of Pennsylvania. We've got 2 other major issues. We got a Bucks County issue.
Wait a minute, shenanigans, Toni, but I thought Al Schmidt said everything was perfectly fine.
Everything's cool. We're the bad actors.
In those 2 crucial states, we have Fox Team coverage. Alexis McAdams is in Detroit as the Michigan Senate race tightens up there. First up, correspondent Brian Yettis in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, where some voters are having a little trouble casting their ballots. What's the deal there, Brian?
Oh.
Brett, good evening. Today was the last day that Pennsylvanians could apply for a mail-in ballot. It was also the last day that they could take part in what's called on-demand mail-in voting, where people can come to their election office, apply for a mail-in ballot, fill it out, and turn it in all in one visit. The deadline was 5 p.m., but here in important Bucks County, the line was cut off and people were turned away at 2:30 p.m., leaving some frustrated and confused, including one Trump supporter who says he was hoping to take part in on-demand mail ballot voting because he'll be busy on Election Day.
Are you going to be able to come here on Election Day?
Unfortunately, I won't because my fiance, she's expecting. It's on November 5th, so quite the day.
Yeah, and the Republican National Committee voicing its concerns about voter suppression to Pennsylvania's Secretary of State, writing, voters consistently report to us that at boards of elections offices across the Commonwealth, they are told that computers are down. The site will be closing early. They are not accepting any more voters, and the mail ballots will not be counted. Bucks County election officials say that anyone who's applied for a mail-in ballot by 5 p.m. will get their ballot by Election Day. All mail-in ballots will be accepted in Pennsylvania up until election night at 8 p.m.
Oh, what a relief. First of all, no, I'm sorry to criticize the dude, but it must be his first kid, because I don't know about you. I've had 3 of them, and every time I'm in the hospital, my husband had stuff to do. So get your rear end of the polls, dude, and cast a ballot on Election Day. She's expecting. What are you doing? Sitting around watching her belly? Come on. The kid of yours is going to be on a boxcar if you don't get out and vote and we don't fix this system. So I just had to vent a little bit there for a second. I probably need some sleep, but yes, this did happen in Bucks. Yes, it is a legitimate concern. I am shocked that the court ruled in their favor because, and Karen, you can weigh in when I get off my soapbox, but here's the thing. Early voting, there's not much in our statutes about early voting that says you have to do something. It's just the counties have to offer it or can offer it 50 days before an election. But there's nothing in the statute that says how you have to do it. The county is at their discretion. They can close down the office whenever they want, and you still have 7 days to vote. So I was kind of like, everybody's freaking out. I'm like, why are we making a big deal about this? This isn't voter suppression. You can go vote on Election Day. And the county can do whatever the heck they want because there's nothing in the statute around this. However, the court did rule in their favor, which just goes to show you our court system is like Vegas. Ready? Shake it, roll it, see what happens. Because they ruled in our favor, and Karen, cover the rest. I guess now it's 2 extra days or something. Make up rules.
Now they're given 2 extra days, so they're given until Friday, 5 p.m. November 1st. And my concern is the fact that they're gonna try. Like, I feel like there's a problem that's created, so of course we now have to make legislation, and so now they're trying to introduce legislation to let people choose to do on demand. And, like Toni has said before, we don't technically have early voting because it's not like you're going in there and voting and they know what it is. You're basically requesting a mail-in ballot, turning it in person. But I just, it's funny that the governor, as of like 2 hours ago, and Bucks County was mum on Twitter about it being extended. And, they didn't mind throwing everybody under the bus, saying people are making too big deal about this, blah, 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 blah. Again, everything is fine in Pennsylvania.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Let's keep that in mind, that the propaganda machine is whipped into a frenzy telling you everything's okay.
It's fine.
Go back through and answer a couple of comments here that people are asking. Is there something else? I can't. Shoot. Where was it? I'm going to scroll back up. Sorry, guys. No, there's no way to find out who you voted for. I know I didn't see the comment, but yeah. So the Bucks issue is what it is. It's early voting is the other thing Joel and I discovered, I think 2 days before the early voting ended, is that it's not actually early voting. Like Karen said, you're filling out a mail-in ballot at your election office. That's all it is. When you went in, you apply, they process the application right there. They give you a ballot and you leave it there, and it's sealed, and it's not supposed to be open till Election Day. It's the same process as mail-in ballots. It's just live instead of, now we could argue it's a little more secure than sticking it in the postal service and waiting forever. I don't know how anybody trusts them. Seriously, my husband sent the check to our daughter's school for tuition for the month of October, and I don't know what they were doing around. It was around whatever the holiday was in October. Was that Columbus Day? They just got it today. Today's October. He mailed it October 10th. And they just got our check today. So again, we could hammer mail-in voting. It doesn't matter. We have 6 days left.
It is definitely more secure than the ballot boxes, because we're seeing now in I know this isn't Pennsylvania, but in Oregon and Washington, somebody was going around putting pipe bombs into the ballot boxes and blowing up ballot boxes. So, you could be dealing with that.
Oh my gosh, mail-in ballot. We have a long road ahead, folks. Do not give up. Do not fear. November 5th is not the end. It's just a shift change. It's just going to tell us what phase are we in. But we have so much work to do, because all of this has to change. Mail-in ballots have to go. Machines have to go. And we're gonna work as hard as we can to make that happen. I remember now what I was going to say. Dave McCormick. Okay, I'm not a huge fan, but I'll tell you why I'm going to vote for him. And I'm not endorsing him either, because I don't like the guy. He's arrogant. I exchanged a couple text messages with him, and you got to understand that Karen and I've learned over the last 4 years, especially because of Patriot Academy, is
and this is Tony Shoup talking, not Audit the Vote. I want to make sure that we understand that, so that people aren't like, oh, they're endorsing a candidate.
No, I'm not endorsing him at all. I'm telling you, as a qualified elector in the state of Pennsylvania, I'm voting for him. I don't like it. We exchanged text messages. I said to him, they're working for us, these people. This is what we have to get back to. These are our employees. So we have every right to ask them difficult questions and hold them accountable. And so in these text messages, I said, well, Dave, I want you to tell me why you think you'd make a great senator for Pennsylvania. And I would, if that were me running, I would be like, okay, I need to sell myself. Clearly, they're hiring me. Her tax money is going to pay my salary. So I will do what I can to answer this question respectfully. And instead, he was snarky remark back and said, well, I'd like to know why everyone tells me I should go to you for election integrity in the state of Pennsylvania. It's like, oh, did he really? And that was the end of my interaction with Dave McCormick. However, here's why I'm going to vote for him, is because I don't want to be responsible for President Trump not holding on to the Senate, or not getting the Senate back, I should say, because we don't really have it. And I know we could argue the Dem versus Rhino versus establishment versus Patriot all day long. But at the end of the day, if we somehow get him over that finish line and he gets inaugurated in January and doesn't have the House and the Senate, he's going to be limited in what he can do. And I just don't want that over my head. In my prayer time, in my conscience, that's what it's telling me. I don't like the guy, but I'm not going to be the reason President Trump didn't get the Senate back. So there's my McCormick spiel. Karen, any thoughts on that?
No.
Don't elaborate or jump too much. Okay. What are we doing? What are we doing next? Hold on. My brain, you guys. I told them after this live stream, do I sound like I smoke 10 packs a day, or I'm transitioning? One of the two. It sounds like myself. Like my voice is annoying for me to listen to. So
you don't. You think it's worse than what it is.
Yeah, it'd be great for you guys either. So we're gonna get through the rest of this. Oh my gosh. We'll talk about Supreme Court rule. Actually, this is a good thing. Let's do this first. Yes, Joel even had it up. Supreme Court, hallelujah. Finally, they made a ruling in favor of election integrity. They said, Virginia, you have every right to keep those illegals off of your voter rolls. That is quite all right, because the Biden administration sued when they tried to take them off and said, nope, you got to leave them on. Now, what? Voice is sultry.
Now here's what's even more interesting.
In what world is this for not cheating?
There were three on the Supreme Court that said it was illegal to vote.
In what world does it make sense to keep illegal aliens on the voter rolls? It makes zero sense. And yet these people are just so blatant. They sued, but thank you, Jesus. The Supreme Court ruled in our favor. And this will be good precedent too, that is set, that we can hopefully move forward in more states than just Virginia, because we've gotten this pushback that you're seeing right there, the NVRA Act. We've tried submitting actually to all the counties how many registered voters were on their rolls still that didn't live in our state anymore. And all of them, we did this right before the 2022 midterms, and they all fell back on this NVRA Act and said, well, we're in this window, this 90-day window before an election, so we can't do any list maintenance activities. Sorry. And they literally fell on all of it. And so I'm thankful that Virginia stood up and the Supreme Court upheld election integrity for the people. So I agree, Nikki. In a cheating world, there's no other reason. If you haven't seen Joe Rogan and Trump yet, please go watch it. I thought it was really good. I love Joe Rogan saying to him, there's just no other explanation for needing these things is other than cheating. It just makes no.
Oh, wait a minute. Some things that we're also seeing now, because I'm very, very honored and fortunate. I get to talk to people all across the country with working with Cause of America. I've been able to see some of the things that are going on in other states that we're not hearing. And the only reason I'm going to mention these is because these are things, especially now that the early voting is done, that I think people need to pay attention to. Make sure when you are voting on election day, look at Donald Trump's name, because in multiple states, it's been spelled wrong, where it's had a period in it, or it's had an exclamation point, or spelled with an L. So if you see that on your ballot, make sure you talk to the judge of elections and tell them you need a new ballot. Now, if it's on like the ES&S ballot marking device, I would probably ask for a paper ballot and say, I'm not voting on the machine because his name is spelled wrong, because that potentially could put it into adjudication. You know, we don't know what the implications of that are, but there's at least 2 states that they've seen this being spelled wrong. So pay attention to that. I said before, because of what happened in Northampton County, if you've got those ballot marking devices, meaning you've got a machine where they put a blank piece of paper in, you choose your choices on the screen, it prints out the ballot with a barcode at the top, you can put your ballot right back in that same slot that it came out of. It'll show you your choices on the screen. It reads the barcode to make sure that the barcode matches the names underneath. And the reason I'm telling you to do that is because just this past election in Northampton County, they realized that the barcode didn't match the names, and it was flipping the Superior Court judge retention races. And so that had to go to the Court of Common Pleas, and it was this whole big ordeal. And they basically, ES&S had to come in afterwards and say, we're sorry, we programmed the machines wrong. So
but our elections are fine. Right? Karen Al Schmidt said they're fine.
So things like that, just pay attention. And I'm not saying you need to be accusatory. If you hear something, it's okay to question. That doesn't mean you have to accuse somebody or be nasty about it, but you're allowed to ask questions. It's okay. And if you see something that doesn't look right, it's okay to go to the judge of elections and say, something doesn't look right on my ballot. Can you please make sure everything's good? Because once you put it in that tabulator, you're done. They can't trace that ballot back to you. So just make sure that you're paying attention. And again, we're peaceful, right? You're going to be respectful, but just make sure it's okay to ask questions.
Amen. In the training that I did that's on our website for poll watchers on election day specifics, I go through a lot of that stuff. There are things that we can do on election day that we had no clue in 2020. I mean, Karen and we were just talking today. We were across the street at our neighbor's house together on November 3rd, 2020, watching. I remember Valerie's friend Sandy was freaking out when states were coming in that weren't looking good. And I was like in a total daze of thinking, this is ridiculous. Stop freaking out. This is going to be a landslide that we've never seen before. Absolutely no clue what we were about to get ourselves into. Vico was really active in politics since 2016. So he was just telling us today some stuff that he saw back then is the same things that we're seeing now with those people at we forgot to mention this, the bucks at the polls when they were wearing these lanyards that says voter protection.
Voter protection. And under it says Dem.
Voter protection Dem. And they go to the polls and tell people, no, you have to go home. And Vico said he saw people like that back in 2020 when he had an authorized representative certificate. I don't know where he was, Karen, if he said he was in a polling location or what, but they were there then. They're going to be there again. So just know that the lanyard that says voter protection, they're probably a Democrat operative of some sort. But if they have a poll watcher certificate, a legitimate certified poll watcher certificate, they are allowed in the polling place. So you can't kick them out. Just keep your eyes peeled, take notes, write down as many details as you possibly can. Here's what I've trained my poll watchers to start thinking like. If you see something off, start thinking, okay, if I were the investigator and I was trying to figure out what the heck is actually going on here, what type of information would I need? What questions would I ask? And that's the stuff you start running through that in your head. And that's what you write down. So if you see busloads of people get dropped off at a polling location, they might all be registered voters. It might be completely legitimate, but it also probably makes sense to get the license plate on that bus so we can do some recon afterwards, because there's no guarantee. And it probably makes some sense to take notes on how many people got off the bus. Maybe where did they come from? And just be aware, hyper aware this time around. What is this, Joel? And that goes right into, here we go.
Right into it. He is on point tonight.
Perfect segue. I forgot about this. This is in our backyard, Bethel Park, actually. So we know people that saw this. This is 100% confirmed, legit, that somehow there were boatloads of people that did not speak English dropped off at the South Park ice rink, which was a satellite office, last weekend for early voting. And based on the video, Joel, do we have the video? Do you want to roll the video? So they don't have to listen to my smoker voice. He's going to pull the video up and roll the video of it. I mean, you could see it. We still don't really know what happened. I had a bunch of people reaching out. I believe it has been reported to the authorities. I don't know where it's at.
No, they had these people. They had about 12 of them walked in. They were all foreigners, and then they took them up. These younger people helped them to fill out. They say vote PA today, and then they took them up, and somehow they beat a 2-hour line, and then they walked up. And the one lady, they were even asking her, they're like, "We don't have you in the system. Your name's not right." And they're like, "Oh, well, we'll take it back and change it."
Yeah.
How do you change your damn name?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you.
All right, our friend in the chat is saying, are you were there watching it in person? And 3 women, part of the crew that got moved up before 200 people in line, showed me the paper in their purse. It was a mail-in ballot application, all filled out already. That's why we're telling you, and that's why Allegheny did request to see the applications. This is why we got to fill out these public records requests, because the only way we get to the bottom of this stuff. And so folks have some hope. Like, this is stuff that nobody really knew in 2020. We weren't looking at this stuff. We were all blindsided, painfully asleep at the wheel. Some days I wish I could go back there. But New Hampton.
You know what? In 2020, I said this day on X, but 2020 kind of woke up a sleeping giant, because we all were asleep, you know? And here's the thing, regardless of what happens on Tuesday, the American people aren't going to be walked over anymore. We're not going to just allow, you know, things to just go by the wayside. And again, you don't have to be accusatory, but it's good to ask questions. And like Toni just said, none of us knew any of this to think about in 2020. We never thought, oh, well, I mean, granted, I'm sure people, if there were bus loads of people coming in, people were like, oh, that's weird. But I'm sure nobody thought, okay, something's really wrong, until we realized the issue of 2020. And regardless of what anybody says about, oh, there was no evidence in 2020 or whatever, people aren't going to let it slide now. And I think that's what's so great, is that the American people have decided to step up and learn their statutes, learn their election law. I think there's probably more patriots on the ground in Pennsylvania that know the election law than our elected officials that should know the election law. So
totally.
It's really cool to see that the people have just kind of taken it in their own hands and said, you know what, enough is enough. We're not going to just let this stand and let them walk all over us anymore. And they're going to, you know, push back. And that, you know, that doesn't mean you have to be rude or inconsiderate about it, but just learn your statutes, learn your election law, actually get involved. And that's what's going to help all of this get better, and hopefully us get to a point that we do have free, fair, and transparent elections.
And I'll tell you what, if you have trouble sleeping, just pull out the Pennsylvania election code. I'm telling you, you don't need no melatonin. You don't need any sleep aid. Seriously, that sucker puts me to sleep every time. In fact, my middle one was up last night. She couldn't sleep. I made her read her book. And I got to get the election code. There it is, right there. Here, take it. Go read that.
Hey, mommy, I'm going to sleep now.
Seriously, knocks me out every time. Every time. Why do you think Trump is pushing for early voting? I just think we could. That's another thing that's probably up for debate. I don't know. I think I know he's surrounded still by people that are not giving him sound advice. I mean, we've seen in Pennsylvania, basically Trump Force 47 is the establishment GOP in Pennsylvania that we've been dealing with for the last 4 years. And I could tell you stories for days about my experience with these poll watchers and the county party, which is Trump Force 47. So it's quite possible that he was just given bad advice and listened to it. It could be the GOP pushing for it, or you know what? I hope it works. I really do. I don't want to see this go in the crapper, although I have my concerns about early voting. I think it's caused a ton of chaos, and especially the mail-in ballots. I don't know. I feel like I can see forward because it's the only way I can get through the next 6 days. And I'm thinking we have the perfect argument now to repeal Act 77 and go back to pre no excuse mail-in ballots, because look at the chaos and the work that it's created for all the election offices. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. There can't be a single election worker that thinks this is a good thing, that this early vote, on-demand voting, satellite offices, mass mail-in ballots, it's chaos. They are being tortured. And I think we've got the perfect argument then to get rid of Act 77 and get our election code back to something that people can trust. One day, for crying out loud. Since when is it election flipping season? This is ridiculous. One day, paper ballots counted by hand. Everybody can trust it that way. And I think that this is like the perfect storm, if you will, that we're seeing,
Well,
because who's going to want to relive this?
And even with what's going on in Bucks, you know, they have said that they just don't have enough election workers. So I'm sure they're not happy about it. The people that are actually working at the courthouse, regardless of the uniformed officers that close them or not, there's still people that are working in the elections office. I know I've gotten multiple instances from, you know, my county, Westmoreland, where it's taken 2.5 to 3 hours because they have to run your stuff through the shore system. And so are all other 66 counties doing it at the same time. And so some people were waiting 2.5 to 3 hours for everything to come through the shore system so then they can turn in that mail-in ballot. And so, you know, they're overworked, underpaid, just as I'm sure everybody else in this country is. But, you know, it's one of those things that that's another thing. Give people a little bit of grace right now, because I think that nobody expected the turnout for the early voting. Who knows what the 5th is going to look like? I mean, 2020, you know, the turnout was crazy. So just give people a little bit of grace too. But again, that doesn't mean you don't question things.
Yes, I am at the mercy of having to election day. I'm basically going to be posted up in downtown Pittsburgh, monitoring vote alert and just managing all these poll watcher efforts. But I missed the early vote deadline. So at some point I'm going to have to leave and drive back to my precinct and vote. And I'm not sorry. That's probably the way it should be anyway. Because I agree with you guys in the mail. At least, hey, we're done hearing about vote early, mail in versus not mail in, because now it is what it is. You got 6 days. If you didn't get a mail ballot already, now you got to go to the polls. The dude with the pregnant wife, oh God help me. I do need some sleep and have to get over this.
Here's the other thing, you know, I will say, now that I also work with my local committee, you know, we've had people that have called us and said, hey, if you have anybody that needs to get to the polls and they can't, I'll be willing to drive. So that's another area. If you can't get to the polls, or you have somebody that, you know, wants to go vote but can't, you know, that's another avenue. There are people all across the Commonwealth that are willing to do that. Or you, if you have the opportunity to do that, take somebody to the poll with you. But I think that's the biggest thing. Try to make your situation your reason to go vote and not your excuse.
Sweet. Awesome. All right. We got a funny video. We're going to close. My job. Oh, really? PTO for anyone who's voting in person. Look at that. Let us know what company you're working for. We should probably support them. We got a funny video we're going to queue up. Before we do that, my favorite comedian, I have to say this week, Jim Brewer, posted something on his Instagram, I think I saw, about President Trump decades ago rescuing, I think it was our military that couldn't get out of somewhere. They were overseas. They were supposed to come home. Things fell through. And he literally sent his private jet to get them and bring them to safety. And this was decades ago. So I'm sure nobody watching this is listening to the he's Hitler rhetoric, which is I saw this too. I thought this was really good. Since when does Hitler have like Jews and Muslims and black people and awful lot of diversity in Madison Square Garden for Hitler? Don't you think? Maybe. Right? Just saying. awful lot of diversity for a guy they're calling Hitler. So keep speaking out and drag. If you did not vote yet, go on election day, drag as many people with you as you possibly can. So we got a chance of making it too big to rig. Joel, you got that video queued up, funny video. And this is not alcohol, although it should be. And I am going to get some MRO Corp. Awesome. Love to know
Tony
more about
and I
what they
don't
do.
drink, but man, after Tuesday, it might be.
Oh, I say it I'm getting close. I say it every day. I haven't yet. I have not yet, but I'm getting close. I don't understand. I did all my partying in my early days. And like after you have kids is when you really need it. Like, why didn't you wait?
Right? What were we thinking?
I don't know. I don't know. Should have waited, man. They drive you batty. Absolutely batty. All right, Joel, when you got your funny video.
I'm Gil Fulbright. The people that run my campaign, they've made this commercial, and I'm in it. This campaign, it's not about me. It's about crafting a version of me that'll appeal to you. A version that visits random work sites with paid actors pointing at things. A version of me that doesn't find old people loathsome or pointless. Has a conventionally attractive yet curiously still family. Listening to my constituents, legislating, these are things I don't do. What I do is spend about 70% of my time raising funds for re-election. I'd do anything to stay in office. My name's Gil Fulbright, but hell, I'll change my name to Phil Goldbright or Bill Fulbright or fill up my mouth with farts. These are the things that are important to me. And these are the fine people that finance my campaign. Now, in order to do these things, I have to stay in office. And to stay in office, I have to keep these guys happy. Now, if any of these things make these guys unhappy, well, my hands are tied. So come November, the choice is clear. Do you want another spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? Or a spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? I'm fill up my mouth with farts, and I approve this message.
That was not oversold. It's the first time you guys are seeing my real reaction. Joel and Karen were like, we have to play this. And I thought, well, if you guys think it's funny, then go for it. Maybe that should be our intro video for this podcast from now on. That is amazing. I love it. Oh my gosh.
It's so good.
I gotta get that link and show it to my husband. Joel, do we have it? Send it to me in that Signal chat or whatever. Or whatever. Are we 6 days out? This might be the last time you hear from us.
It will. It'll be the last time you hear, unless there's some special breaking something.
That's a good question, Nikki. Where can we find that? Joel, put that somewhere. That is great. Is that going viral? It should.
I don't know, but it should. It's so funny. I saw it on X a couple of days ago.
I'm Gil Fulbright.
Do you want to play it again? I'll watch it again. That was fantastic. You guys want to watch it again? Yeah, roll it.
Hi, I'm Gil Fulbright. The people that run my campaign, they've made this commercial, and I'm in it. This campaign, it's not about me. It's about crafting a version of me that'll appeal to you. A version that visits random work sites with paid actors pointing at things. A version of me that doesn't find old people loathsome or pointless. Has a conventionally attractive yet curiously still family. Listening to my constituents, legislating, these are things I don't do. What I do is spend about 70% of my time raising funds for re-election. I'd do anything to stay in office. My name's Gil Fulbright, but hell, I'll change my name to Phil Goldbright or Bill Fulbright or fill up my mouth with farts. These are the things that are important to me. And these are the fine people that finance my campaign. Now, in order to do these things, I have to stay in office. And to stay in office, I have to keep these guys happy. Now, if any of these things make these guys unhappy, well, my hands are tied. So come November, the choice is clear. Do you want another spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? Or a spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? I'm fill up my mouth with farts, and I approve this message.
Totally. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it as much as we do. I'm going in the house and showing that to my husband and all my kids. My kids have had it with the ads too. Because when they have their tablet time and they watch YouTube Kids, which I know they shouldn't, don't judge me.
He has my vote too.
He has my vote too. It's not the Babylon Bee. Oh man, that's good stuff. That's going to be our opener, I think, for
Yes,
our podcast.
I think that should be. That's amazing. Amazing.
I'm not exactly sure when you're going to see us next, if we're not already on the calendar somewhere. But
no, unless there's something crazy that goes on in the next 5 days and Toni and I feel the need to come on, I think election night, maybe if we can find the time between.
Well, I was going to say, I will be at the Hampton and Green Tree processing, getting the poll watchers documentation back and trying to see, should we escalate anything? What did you see? Setting up, like next steps. So we will do our best to keep you guys informed on the ground. I will leave you with this though. I did a last night on our YouTube, because I don't have a Facebook account. Now we don't have Audit the Vote Facebook account or an Instagram account, and Karen is banned from Facebook.
I'm banned. Personal.
4 years ago, I was doing these live videos on my personal Facebook account way before Audit It, election integrity. Nobody knew who I was. This is before we met Trump, all that stuff, just because people were freaking out. And I felt like calm enough to just give them some perspective and pray with them. And so I did a quick blurb on Audit the Vote's YouTube channel the other night, just because I was so nostalgic. I was looking at the calendar 4 years ago and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I was doing 4 years ago. And now I can't, because I don't have a Facebook account anymore. But I will leave you guys with this. Do not fall for the garbage. A big part of me thinks that this early voting push was to cause chaos, because that's exactly what it did. And so when you see something and feel like you have to react, and you feel the anxiety rising and, oh my gosh, how is this happening yet again? Take a deep breath, take a step back, take 3 really deep breaths in a row. And remember that Satan is in a hurry and God is patient. So before you feel, here it is. Yeah. Go to our YouTube channel. And I just did like a 13. You don't have to play that. I don't want to hear my voice, please. It's bad enough listening to it now. Last night, for some reason, it wasn't that bad. Or maybe, look, I'm wearing the same shirt. This is how real we are. I haven't changed clothes. Anyway, I did do that. Don't fall for their crap. I don't know what kind of false flag junk they've got planned, or some bomb threat or whatever. They're going to pull something on Tuesday. I don't know what it is, but just don't fall for it. Stay calm, cool, collected. What do we do about the machines? Pray, people. Pray your butts off. Pray and fast. We are in a spiritual battle when it's all said and done. This really isn't a physical battle. We don't fight against flesh and blood, against evil spirits, powers, and principalities of darkness. And I am binding every evil spirit. No weapon formed against this nation shall prosper. And if it's going to come in a cyber attack against those machines, then it shall be halted in Jesus' name, and the Lord will prevail. And I am speaking that and praying that every single day from now to the election and afterwards. And I recommend, if you get anxious about those machines and think, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? You do the same thing, because that's all we got left. Vote for Stinky Toni McFarts. That is fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. I am Nikki. I'm a mom. I just realized that. Oh my gosh, I could have changed my t-shirt. I'm in the same t-shirt. Didn't even bother to change. I did brush my teeth. I brushed my teeth. I washed my face. My husband, we washed the dirty bits. You do like the necessaries, and I don't think.
You gotta do. Like,
I don't think
our job right now, in between trying to make sure that Pennsylvania doesn't completely I don't know, just erupt, is making sure that our kids are alive. We're just that's what we're doing right now. Our kids are alive. We're achieving our goal.
Amen. So that was what I wanted to convey, is just don't fall for the crap. They're going to try to create chaos.
Absolutely.
And even all this, like the stuff that we went through tonight, the voter registrations, the illegals voting, don't fall for everything. People start panicking. It's like we're in this sensationalization zone of, now that I'm thankful we can share information and we're not censored, but at the same time, people are freaking out. Just breathe. God's in control. Everything's going to be okay. I don't know how this is going to shake out, but we're in this together. I hate that they stole that the COVID made that.
I know.
and chill eating my popcorn. Yes.
I think that that's just one of the biggest things that we have found throughout this whole thing. It's so easy, right? Even with there was a thing going around on X today about ABC posting up the official results during the Formula One car racing, and it went viral, and people are like, what's going on? And we've seen that in, I feel like, every other election recently. But here's the thing, right? Don't let that deter you, because what some people are going to do is see that and go, no, it's all over. I'm done. I'm not going to the poll. You need to do the opposite. You need to look at that and be like, you know what? Absolutely not. We're not going to stand for it. And we're not going to let it even get to that point that they can do that. So and look, look, you can tell it was a test. They have a check mark by McCormick, and McCormick, according to those numbers, is like 10 points behind. So here's the thing, like Tony said, like, ignore all the noise, really ignore all the noise, and just know November 5th, polls open at 7, get your rear end there before 8 p.m. And yeah, that's it.
Very good. Yeah, Joel pulled it up. There it is. Hey, since they're not eyes on 412, Allegheny County, we still need you. I got plenty of time to get trained. We're paid positions. We have a generous donor, praise the Lord, and we need you. So if you live in Allegheny County, I'm not sure what they're afraid of. MTG and what are they're saying, like false flag stuff on election day to suppress the vote. I mean, it's one of the few things they got left. What else have they got? And like I said, they're not going to roll over and like, oh, congratulations, President Trump. We're all going to jail. Like, oh,
my
that's
kids
good.
go with me too. My husband and I usually are 1 and 2 at our polls, and our kids, I have a 5 and a 7-year-old, and they come with me every single time we go to vote.
That's awesome. My kids can't wait till this election is over because mommy is way too preoccupied with this stuff. So they're looking forward to us getting through this. But what else? What I feel like there's other stuff we gotta tell them, because maybe they're all still watching.
Probably. I ain't got nothing.
To my sultry voice, isn't this love? I hate this. I don't know how you guys can stand listening to me. It's awful. Nikki, yes, I have contacted Wendy Bell only once. The media people, you just have to hound because they get hit up by so many different things. And since I sound like this, and Joel, don't yell at me. Last night he was like, I did a podcast last night. Nate Kane, the Raising Kane show. He's from West Virginia, is a whistleblower. Found all kinds of stuff. Go look for him on Twitter. AmericaOutloud.news I might be on. I can't even remember the podcast or the outlet that it's on, but Joel's like, you got to get out there in front of anybody you possibly can in the next 6 days. This is like prepping for the Super Bowl. Go. And he's right. But then I got up today and sounded like this. So I thought, well, I'm not messaging people today and sounding like this. So that's why when we're done, I'm going to go to bed and get some rest. Hopefully.
I was on Sharona, America's Mom, yesterday, her podcast too. So we're trying, we're as much as we can, we're trying to get this out there and make sure that people understand what's going on, but we can only do so much. We need your help. So anyway, if you can donate your time and you're in Allegheny County, message us on our website, go to that Eyes on 412. If you can donate with your finances, you have a little extra money to help us pay the poll workers or do some challenges or whatever the case is, you can go to our donation page. Or if you're getting ready to start shopping for the holidays, you can go to mypillow.com and you can use our promo code ATVPA, and it helps both us and Mike Lindell, who is the most amazing patriot that has been fighting and giving everything he has. So.
Yeah, I don't know how Trump sounded raspy today too. I mean, how do you not after all of this? Yes, and Christmas gifts, again, the merch. I need to get more merch on there when I have some time, but how cool is this? Look. Yay. Audit the vote. Trump fist in the air. Go get some merch on our website. It helps fund the efforts. I was going to answer one last question in here. Somebody's asking about how many poll stations do you know that are not posting the printout? Yes, Joel, thank you for the store. Go through this. I've heard mixed things. They're saying it's not in Act 77 that they have to anymore, but I was reading through an Allegheny County, I don't know what it was called. It was a handout for poll workers. And it even says in their handout, it tells them to still print it out and put it publicly up. So, and it looks like the one that they're still using. So I don't know, but again, that's why we're getting the poll watchers, because they're even going to fill out. We have them trained to fill out their own ballot return sheet, just like the judge of elections is, so we can make sure that everything was reconciled and we have a record of it from the poll watcher. So that's all you can do at this point. Oh, thank you. Heading over to buy one right now. Tons of good merch on there. And again, about everything you buy between $5 and $10 goes to us is fundraising. So Karen, I know I want that hoodie too. I want the hoodie. Karen has go back, Joel, and show I have to get it to her. I don't know when I'm going to see her. When am I going to see you next? Oh no, merch store. That red one there. Click on the red one. There's my hat. I like the hat. Karen got that one in white. There it is. I have it for her. So it looks good.
Stunning. I love the white.
Stunning.
So
I already got 3 hoodies, 2 t-shirts. What's another one? I know. All right.
I don't think Toni and I have many clothes anymore that doesn't have like an American flag or something on it at this point.
Very little. Very little. Everything's patriotic. Cheers. All right. With that being said, I won't make you sit through that video one more time. I am going to go show it to my husband though, because that's fantastic. Do the Vicks. Thank you. Yeah, vitamin C, D. I know. Joel's telling me I got to call Kelly at the health hut and get silver. And I know. Just add it to the list. Right now, I just need some.
I have some here. If you need some, I can put some in a jar.
Thank you. This is my body saying, girl, you got to slow down. Cannot go on.
Slow down.
You can't live on 4 hours.
We can't. We got a week left and then we can sleep for a day.
That's what but occasionally then your body gets kicked in the teeth and says, no, you will sleep or I will make you sleep.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah, we'll stop yapping. If you guys keep commenting, we'll keep talking. And
yeah, I mean,
thank you guys for everything. Can't believe we're 4 years into this. And
Toni, who would have thought at this point we had our Constitution class, right?
Yeah, we were in the middle of it.
My goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yes, Jean says, thank your hubbies for letting you do this. They really, they are saints. They're total saints, and they bust their rear ends too, so that we don't have to work like, crazy corporate jobs and bring in a ton of money and still support our family. So yes, they're very supportive. Honey vinegar. I just think it's my body saying slow down.
Yeah.
Just slow down, get some sleep.
It's been 4 long years and we haven't really taken a breath. So
nope. And it's forcing me to drink more water instead of energy drinks, which I should do on a regular basis. So maybe that's a good thing.
All right, guys.
We're going to bed. Joel, hit it or we'll just keep talking. Good night, everybody.